Welcome back everyone, Toy Shiz here, and today we're going to be checking out the newest wave of the Hasbro Transformers Age of the Primes series. Now, I am a huge Transformers fan, but I am a fan of the toys. I love G1, I love Transformers Animated, I love car robots. And of course, there are elements to each Transformers series that is cool to me, but not everything is swell. It's one of those where I like to pick and choose and, like I said, more so enjoy the toys. But in recent years, I've been going hog wild more for Transformers because everything is scale-wise matching up, looks-wise matching up. They're fun. They're doing a great job. I'm finally going to complete Superion. So we will be taking a look at more Transformers in the future, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about them more in the comments, and let me know. This is something that I just get to sit back and relax myself about, because continuity Transformers-wise for me, it's up in the air. I look at certain characters, I go, that's cool. I look at characters, I have no idea who they are. I go, that's cool. Others, I go, yeah, it's not for me, not my thing. But if I goof, if I say anything wrong, let me know down in the comments. But know that, no, I am not the expert. I may know a lot of things, but Transformers is just something I like to have fun with, and hopefully you can have fun with me as well. So to kick it off, we're going to be checking out the brand new Alpha TRION. I actually did not get the 2-pack that came with the Orion packs. Kind of had a different look, which I think is more G1. This one is, it looks like a younger Alpha TRION, if anything. I like the accessories that he comes with. More on that in just a few. And here is the barcode for when he starts to hit store shelves. Next up, we have MICRONUS Prime, part of the 13 Primes. Yes, I have been collecting all of those, of which apparently I'm missing one, which now I have to go back, or I'm sure they're going to reissue them at some point. But MICRONUS Prime, this one, I'll save you some time, is really interesting. At first I was like, the heck is this? But it's pretty cool. Here's the barcode for old MICRONUS Prime. Next up, we have VENIN, or Venom. Now, this was one I really wasn't familiar with. Apparently his name is Venom, but they're calling him VENIN now. Probably a Marvel Venom mismatch, that kind of thing. They don't want to, oh, there's all these Venoms and yada yada. So he's VENIN, unless you know the secret reason. But yeah, he's interesting. And then finally, we have the last two aerial bots, which we have completed Devastator, and now we've completed Superion in 2025. But this here is Fireflight. He's got a cool color scheme to him. He's a giant red and white plane. It's funny to me that you can kind of sort of name the components of Devastator, but when it comes to the aerial bots, like myself included, everyone's like, yeah, I don't know. I think one of them is called like Fireflight or Skydive or whatever they're called. I just know them as Superion. Like I said, Devastator, get a little bit more crafty with the names, but it's a bunch of planes. So here's the barcode for Skydive. Now, mine came in from Entertainment Earth. As of now, as of this video, they are sold out, but you can still order them. I'll put links down in the description below, and if you're a fan of Transformers, they have a ton of things listed, and they do daily restocks, and new stuff comes in on the daily as well. If you're new to Entertainment Earth, I'll put the code, it's Earth10. That'll give you 10% off your first order. It used to be all the orders. Now it's gone to first-time orders, so you could just use a new email. I'm just saying. But check out Entertainment Earth for all your Transforming buy-in needs. But in the meantime, this is going to be an absolute blast. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at the newest wave of the Hasbro Transformers Age of the Primes line: Skydive, Fireflight, Alpha TRION, VENIN, and MICRONUS Prime. Here we go. Now, right before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who continues to watch my YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Why? Well, we have old toys, new toys, daily news updates. Guarantee you'll find something here that you like some really cool looking Transformers. So we'll kick everything off with VENIN slash Venom. He is the leader of the Insecticons, and he primarily hails from the Marvel Comics. He was in G1, but Marvel's kind of where he made his name. He comes with an accessory. It's a giant battle axe. It comes apart, which is cool. It's all just colored plastic, but the blaster is green, and then this axe part is gray, and you create a giant Cybertron axe. Now, the figure itself, like I said, I just like to have fun with Transformers. I think this is a cool looking figure. There is some weirdness, awkwardness to him, and I think it's primarily in the face because he's kind of got the shockwave thing going on, one eye, but then he has the two bug eyes on the side, and that makes it look like the bug eyes are the eyes, and then he's smiling. And now I can't unsee that. So, yes, I know it's supposed to be a visor, one eye, but he's a smiling bug man. This is a cool color scheme. It reminds me of the fantastic colors of G2, but it is something refreshing. There's a lot of darker colors usually in Transformers, and I like when Transformers get wild, and this is definitely a great example of that. Now, the articulation is pretty smooth for a character like this. The only hiccup, I think, if anything, comes with the back, little creepy crawly legs, and then the wings, right? The wings and everything else, although it is on model, so I'm not complaining about that by any means, but it's just a little cumbersome in some areas. But he can hold his giant battle axe if you'd like, and you get it above his head, and he can go hacking and slashing, or you could take it apart and put it in his hands individually for a knife and a gun effect. So that is pretty cool. And overall, yeah, I would say I'm happy with this Venin. It's totally different, totally wackadoo, but it's nice to have a leader for the Insecticons. So let's go ahead and transform this guy. Special effects there. And you get this little cicada bug guy. And it's... First of all, thank you for making it so easy to transform this guy. This was a piece of cake. This is okay and kind of blasé at the same time, where the legs are kind of like, okay. And then you got the back, wings, and everything else. Overall, it's funny. I like more robot animals than animal robots, or we'll say insects in this case. So he's got the blaster on one side, you put the knife on the other. He has like a little blaster arm, basically, but it's a robot bug from Cybertron. Who cares? So yeah, pretty cool looking Venin overall. If you have all the other Insecticons in this continuity, at least for Marvel, he would be the leader of the Insecticons. No, he doesn't really go. It's kind of like they had Casual Friday and Venin really took them up on their offer. But like I said, it's fun to have a new, different Insecticon. Next up, we have MICRONUS Prime, part of the 13 Primes. Pretty much caught up. I'm missing Vector Prime, apparently. I passed on him, but I'm sure he'll be coming back around. MICRONUS Prime, my first initial thoughts. I go, wow, this kind of weird, lackluster, not a whole lot going on. Didn't really like the gun cannon fingers, that kind of thing. And then it dawned on me, this is like a battle suit for a tinier robot, kind of like a GoBot or a Minicon, something like that. And then I went, oh, well, let's see how this is going to go. I like the spinny blades on the back. You can get him into a flying helicopter mode, I suppose, if you'd like. But the legs are very short, but with reason, right? It's kind of like that robot from the recent Electric State movie that was on Netflix. But sure, yes, the articulation on him is pretty solid. Now, what's interesting is that the chest plate does open. Be careful of the disc on the front. That is removable, but it reveals kind of a Cyber Planet Key looking thing, like a circular disc. Like I said, this will come back off and you can install it on the smaller robot that we're going to be dealing with here in just a second. Yes, it gets that wild. This is a wild Transformer, but this right here pops out of his chest, and it's a little teeny tiny robot inside a big robot, but they're all still tiny, hence the MICRONUS. Just make sure you get the chest cavity kind of lined up. It can be kind of awkward to close in some sense, but let's go ahead and transform this guy, and yeah, you got a little tiny Transformer man. So again, he's a mini-bot, he's a mini-con, that kind of thing. And yes, you can use all these parts and pieces from MICRONUS as a weaponizer of sorts if you really want to do that. And of course, because of his small stature, he's going to have minimal articulation. But I assure you, it does everything that the box tells you it does. So that's interesting, at least. And you could put that little disc on the back right there if you so choose. But the colors are cool. Again, very simplistic articulation, but you can at least display them in dual mode if you like. But let me show you exactly what this actually entails by transforming it into essentially a big wheel for the tinier robot. So that's where, like I said, I initially looked at that and went, oh, I like scoffed. It was like a verbal scoffing, and it's pretty cool. I actually think it's really interesting. I'm not a huge fan of what's going on in the back, but at least the wheel moves and you can get it going a proper. So for that alone, it is different. It's wild. And when you are thinking about the 13 primes, not everything is the exact same. So that's wild. In fact, there's a couple I'm looking forward to that are just bat poop crazy looking. And it's funny because not all robot modes, not all vehicle modes are fantastic like VENIN, right? It's kind of so-so. But I'll tell you, MICRONUS, you get the best of both worlds. You get a big robot, you get a smaller robot inside a big robot. The little robot comes out and then can ride the big robot as a big wheel. Say that all in one go. This is pretty slick, pretty stylish. I highly recommend MICRONUS Prime. It's just fun, and it is very different. Now, again, like I'll reiterate, the 13 primes are well underway. I thought, oh, I'm totally caught up. And truth be told, I am caught up, but I didn't get the previous released Vector Prime. Yes, Alpha TRION is in the 13 primes lineup, along with all these other guys, including the awesome MICRONUS and the Star Optimus. So you get them all. You're going to get 13 eventually. They're going to get bigger and crazier, like Amalgamus Prime and whatever the quintessent thing is. So these are fun. I'm looking forward to completing the set. In the case of Alpha TRION, though, I do like the G1 2-pack version a little bit better in terms of the looks, but this is a really cool looking, let's say younger looking Alpha TRION. So here he is out of the packaging. He's part of the 13. So you could say this version is more the 13, right? Let's just go with that. And then if you have the 2-pack, he's the G1, even though they're both. See, that's where Transformers gets wild and crazy. And I'm sure you're all going to comment down below. But I like the color scheme on Alpha TRION. He looks very 80s. He's got like a maroon with a purple, like a brown color. It's just cool. I definitely dig it. The silver makes him pop. He looks like an 80s robot man. And while he does have kind of a backpack to him, he does have some accessories that can store back there. So for that alone, that's pretty cool. In terms of the articulation, the only thing I'm going to say is that with the accessories that comes with him, I wish that he had better mobility in his hands. That's really all. But likewise, with all the various Transformers that we've looked at prior and everything else, solid articulation. And in this day and age, it's pretty wild to see since growing up with G1, G2, and everything else that came later. I like that you can remove the Autobot symbol. That's just a fun little Easter egg, and he can hold it. Now, you would probably think, yeah, that's not going to do the trick. He has articulated fingers. They're all in one go, that kind of thing. But he can properly hold the Autobot insignia. So I dig that. That's just a cool Easter egg to put on this figure. You can hand it to Optimus Prime. Hand it off to anybody who's an Autobot. Maybe give it to Megatron. The sky is the limit, but just don't lose it because it's teeny tiny. On the back side, you have some, we'll say weapon storage, but it's a book. Now, this is what I like to see with Transformers. It opens up, which is wild already. I know we get Marvel Legends comic book figures that come with little comics, and those don't even open up. But it's very well detailed. You got some Cybertron writing, but if you look closely here, and this is the best aspect of this book, is that it looks like an old tape deck, like a recording tape deck. It's got all the buttons, fast forward, rewind, stop. It's got the tape deck. It's awesome. That is really cool. And the fact that it's got that red plastic, it looks very alien. It looks very Cybertron-ish. And it is something that an old timer like Alpha TRION would definitely have. On the backside as well, you lift up his undercarriage here, and you have a Cybertron quill, essentially, and he can hold that. And again, like I said, he holds everything pretty well, but I would have loved to have been able to get him in more of a natural pose. You can fudge it. You can spend a lot more time probably than I did, but let's go ahead and transform this guy a proper. Now, What I appreciate most about these Transformers is that they were fairly easy to transform outside of Alpha Trion. Alpha Trion has a few more hiccups here and there, but you can store the weapons. You got the Autobot symbol. He's just a cool futuristic Cybertron jet, of which I like to put the Autobot symbol right there on the top. That's cool that you can have that option. But like I said, he was a little cumbersome to transform. Not complicated, but to get all those little pieces and hinges and everything swinging in, locking into place, it was a thing. It took about 10 minutes to kind of learn it and get going. By the way, I'm not the best with transforming Transformers, so if you see anything mistransformed in this, I totally accept my fate. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. But I'm still having fun with these things. I like the purples, the blues, everything really stands out from the robot to the jet mode. It's pretty solid Alpha Trion. And then finally, the final two aerial bots. I'm so stoked. Just completed Devastator probably, 2 weeks ago? Now we're already completing Superion. The first one up is Skydive. I really like the color scheme, and I like that he has that orange face that really differentiates him from his color scheme of grays, blacks, and reds. And the best part is he has some wild G2 coloring in the back, like a lightning bolt on blue, and the wings got some yellow. And yes, these the aerial bots. They've had this for years, but that's just fun. It's got some cool coloring. It really differentiates him from a lot of the other aerial bots. So for that alone, that is pretty wild. He comes with 2 blasters. Of course, he holds those well. I'm really not one of those Transformers collectors that talks about kibble and backpack elements unless it's funny enough to me to kind of mention it. These are Hasbro Transformers, so they're not always going to have the parts and pieces necessary to kind of complete the look, but hey, at least they transform into what they're supposed to transform into. And yes, while he does have the wings and the cones, and you could put those back if you like or leave them off to the side, which now that I'm looking at it, you're definitely supposed to do. So see, I caught myself on my own mistransformation. But like I said, this is fun. Cool color scheme, great looking figure, just fun overall. And they're all in scale with one another. That's another great element. Next up is Fireflight, an even cooler color scheme, and really stands out amidst the rest of the aerial bots. He kind of looks like a medic sort of thing, right? Kind of like Ratchet in many ways with the reds and the whites. But yeah, that's really wild. Kind of has that tail fin in the back with the different color going on. I like the blues and the yellow stripes on the white wings. Just fun. Transformers are just fun, man. They're just cool toys. But man, are they getting expensive. That's the thing, right? These days, everything's getting expensive. He's going to come with blasters that fit onto his forearms, same exact articulation, and he's going to scale really well with the rest of the aerial bots. As far as the head portrait goes and everything else, like I said, I like the last ones with the orange face. Now you got this one with the gray face. So everything kind of looks different. It's not all the same. It's not a clone copy, even though each of the 4 aerial bots, there's really 2 clone copies. Yeah, everybody, we'll just take a look at their vehicle modes. Now, here's the thing, right? All transformed, ready to go. I really like Fireflight. I like that he's got all the reds. He's got the white wings. Like I said, really stands out. It's kind of got that whole medical look to him. You could put the blasters on the underside of the wings, and really, no problemos whatsoever. I would have loved if the cockpit opened up. That would have been kind of cool. And you see on the underside, he's got a landing gear. And I'll tell you this, on... This is funny. So this one right here, I spent so long thinking this has got to have a landing gear somewhere because they wouldn't go through all this trouble to make these things and then not put one in. But like I said, it's got the wings, it's got the blue tail fin and everything else. It looks rad. So I totally appreciate it. But I just kept thinking about that dang landing gear. And it wasn't until I started transforming them for Superion that I finally went, oh, there it is. It's on the underside of the chest. So just an FYI. But you have now the rest of the aerial bots, of which the names go ahead. It's just the aerial bots. We have the new Fireflight, yada, yada. But they all look fantastic. That's the key aspect here. Just like the Constructicons all looked cool together, now you have each of the aerial bots. And that's what I love about this era of Transformers, is that they're in scale, They're pretty darn close to what you saw with G1, and they're pretty spot on in the colors and what they should be in correspondence to the old cartoon. But when trouble is a-brewin' and Optimus Prime needs help, but you gotta rally the aerial bots to combine so they can go up against the mighty Devastators. So, when everything is combined, and it's pretty solid in its combination, not nearly as long as Devastator, we have the mighty Superion. Superion was definitely interesting, especially the arms. I love how they came apart. That was cool. The legs, you're just kind of cramming two jets on the back, but that's what it is. That's Superion. I think that he's less of a mess, even though I love Devastator. And if you're wondering, when you have all the jets attached, where do the guns go? Well, there are multiple portholes every which way. You can get creative. Just don't lose them, because not all of them are very snug in keeping the blasters in. You're going to get plenty of head articulation. That looks solid. I love the helmet, too, by the way. That's Superion. There you go. The arms and the legs, everything is ratcheted. Nothing falls. Nothing is too heavy. Nothing is janky in that sense until you kind of pose them around and maybe you have some awkward parts and pieces that aren't fully clipped in. Just saying. The hands. The hands I really wish were more articulated. More so like Devastator, but not like Devastator. Maybe a little bit more overall, let's just say. So that would be a gripe of mine for, well, each of the combiners so far. He does have a waist. Mine was very stuck at first, so just be careful when doing all that. The guns, you could prop those into any porthole that you wish. I love the legs and the flaps right here. So again, it's all ratcheted. Nothing's loose. Nothing's janky. He's got knee articulation. He even has some foot articulation as well, so that, yes, you can pose him out proper, and he's got peg holes on the bottom. But like I said, for a figure like this, it's pretty stellar. The blaster is kind of another story. That's kind of janky in and of itself, just FYI. But in terms of the scaling, let's say with Optimus Prime or Blitzwing, I like my combiners roughly around this size. That's G1 to me, if anything. We all know that size really is all over the place in terms of Transformers lore. But to have Overlord or Metal Hawk, to have more of the Japanese ones go with the Superion a la Headmasters and all that, yeah, it fits. But I think everybody's interested in how does he kind of measure up against Devastator. And I like that Devastator is still taller than he is. Devastator's the taller villain. Superion's the shorter hero. I totally dig that. And thanks to a great friend of mine, I might have a Menasor coming soon because I was a fool, an absolute fool, and did not get all those together for some reason. But that will wrap it up for my quick look at the newest wave of the Hasbro Transformers Age of the Primes. Overall, pretty happy with all of these Transformers. Like I said, it takes a lot for me to go, oh, this was a mistake. It doesn't look too good. I like to just have fun with the Transformers. Yes, you could tell me all about them if I missed any details. Please, I welcome it. That way I learn, you learn, everybody learns down in the comments. But I would say Superion is pretty solid overall. Just the gun, the big old blaster is a total jank fest. I don't know why. We got to work on the hands and the blasters here for these combiners. But as always, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Transformers Age of the Primes. And until the next one, I will leave you guys with that. Adios.